now that I have a test stand, we can finally get around to seeing if this oil pump is any good. It's a 1965 race Hemi oil pump. Me being a 65 guy, I want to know if it's any good. It's got deep scoring, and I just don't know. If you remember, right, when I built the engine on the test stand, I specifically put the stock type oil pump on it, so when the day came, I could put this pump on there and compare it pressure wise. Will it pump? And I can compare it to that one and see what the performance is like. We have all the specs here in the 65 manual. It tells you all the specs: outer rotor length, inner rotor length, clearance over the rotors, rotor tip clearance between rotors, rotor outer clearance. So we have the data. Some of these things are better told in the, this is a 1970 service manual. So they give you pictures, and you know how you put a straight edge on the cover and make it sure it's flat. Of course, we know how to measure the thickness of the rotor and the diameter of the rotor, the inner and the outer, and there's the outer clearance, and there's the tip clearance when they meet. So we can measure all of that. But of course, the problem is this heavy scoring. Is that, I mean, that's huge, you know. I can't repair anything like this, you know. I'm just married to what it is. Is it going to work? That's the question. And it's our job to find out. Now, I'll make these measurements. Now, I never even thought about this. You know, that's not pretty right there. I think I need to put new rotors in this. I mean, we're trying to find out if it works, you know. I don't know. Now that's probably fine in real life if everything else in the pump was good, but we are trying to, oh boy. Well, let's measure it. Maybe it'll be light and we can give us a good excuse to replace the rotor anyway. I don't know. I just, yeah, 43.5, inner rotor length 942 or less. But you know what? I don't like the way that's measuring. I'll go get a new one and let's see what it is. And I'll get a new one. We'll check it out. Okay, I get what they're saying now. These aren't the new specs. These are the inspection limits for replacement. So this is when you replace. As long as they're higher than these numbers, you're okay. So they're saying outer rotor 943 or less, you replace it. And it's 944, so we're good there. And it says the inner rotor 942 and it's 943, so we're within spec there. And they want the inner a thou smaller than the outer, so we're okay there. So I put this in. Boy, you'd have to be really worn out. It says outer rotor 12 thousandths or more, and I didn't have near that as far as this goes. So we're okay there. And then they also want you to check the flatness of this. You know, it's not really scored. It looks bad. You know, you see that, but it's not really scored. But since we're trying to do our best, I think we'll go ahead and put this on a surface plate and sand the bottom very gently to help a little bit. We're not trying to mill it 30 thousandths or anything. We're just going to kind of try to smooth that up a little bit. Now the spring, it does not give a spec in 1965 for the spring. We'll go ahead and check it. These are what the stock pump, these are kind of street Hemi specs, the stock pump and then the Hemi pump, and that's the length you check it at. But really, for our application here, we're trying to see what it does up against the new stock pump. That's our baseline. We know that the stock pump will hit the bypass at 75, and it'll pump enough oil to do that. We don't even know if this thing's going to pump. We don't even know if it's going to prime. I'm not knowledgeable enough about oil pumps to know what'll work and what won't. I mean, I know you'd replace that in real life, but you can't go down to the Dodge store and get a pump for a 65. So we'll use the spring out of the other pump. So our test is real and equal. And we'll surface this up. We'll test this spring just to see how it stacks up against the old springs. You see in the book, it says oil pressure at 40 to 50 miles an hour, 45 to 65. It doesn't tell you things like, you know, when it's going to bypass and all that. Some of these Mopar people that worry about their oil pressure getting low, how do you think they'd like to read this manual that tells them oil pressure at idle, 1,000 RPMs, 8 PSI. You know these guys that think they're going to blow their motor up because it's only got 20 idling? Well, there's your spec. If it's got 8 PSI idling, and that's not really a low idle, that's at 1,000 RPMs. So don't worry about low pressure idling is what I'm trying to tell you. At least according to the Chrysler engineers. Okay, let's go test this and surface this, and then I'll clean all this up and put it on there, and we'll do our test. Okay, this is not really telling us anything, but inquiring minds want to know, you know. Okay, we're supposed to test at 1.593. We've got 22 pounds, and a Hemi oil pump is supposed to be 22.3 to 23.3. So, well, we do have 22 and a half. Let's come up. 593, we got 22 pounds. 22.5. Golly. So if you're wondering if 60-year-old springs are any good, this does have a Hemi spring. All right. I'll go ahead and get that other one and we'll test up against it just for our own curiosity. Well, I don't guess we really have to put the other spring in it because it's the spec of the other spring. Of course, now this doesn't tell us what a 65 spring really was, because this, you know, the spring could have been replaced. So we didn't really learn anything there, but now that we know we've got a Hemi spring in it anyway, it doesn't matter, so we can use it. Okay, I've got a new sheet of 600 wet or dry, and we'll just give this thing a little love. Let's see how we want to. We don't want to. We don't want to put hardly any pressure. You know, we don't even have to remove all these marks, because that will tell us that we're staying flat. If we start seeing shiny here and this is like this here, that means we've done it bad. We've got to just put it down and move it back and forth using hardly any pressure, basically nothing. Looking a little better. Looks like we had a couple of high spots over there we got to cut off. I'm not really using any pressure. I'm just really sliding. Looks like we're staying pretty even, but you'll see that those two high spots right there. I should have felt this first and filed those. It would be more accurate, you know what I mean? Maybe I should do that. Let me see if I need to file anything. Okay, I dressed that up with the file a little bit. Now let's go at it again. You know, we were being held up on that side by those little flaws and not... Okay, and it looks like we're getting more cut over here than we are over here, which is normal. The way that you move, you cut over here. That's why you have to turn it around and do it this way now. Anytime you're trying to stay flat, you don't just push in one direction. I mean, you don't realize that you're cutting more going that way, but you are. Yeah, that's looking better. We still have our pattern, so we know that we're not doing a lousy job. And you can feel it get smoother. You can feel that you're taking something off. As you stroke, it's getting smoother. Now we see that we're taking off on this edge, because whether you realize it or not, you're pushing that direction and you're dragging back this direction. We can't go this way. We'd like to, because of the, I believe that filter base sticks lower, does it not? Oh, maybe we can. Well, let's try that. Yeah, it can. I thought it stuck lower than the surface there. Now it looks like we've taken some off of that side, more so than this side. I think we're about there. You know, like I say, we're not trying to mill it down. We're just trying to improve it a little bit. I think that's it. We've still got discoloration here. That means we haven't ground it all the way down. I love it. We're ready. Okay, I'm going to try this used. It does have some pitting on here. I don't know if that's going to hurt, whether or not it's going to work or not. I mean, you'd replace it, I guess, in real life, but we're just trying to test here, maybe. I think I'll go ahead and put a rebuild kit in it, new rotors and O-rings and everything. Those look tired and flat, old. I'll clean all this up and put it back together and put it on, and we'll see if it works. I don't know. Well, I was going to wait till one of my cronies came by so I could watch the gauge while he primed, but I haven't seen anybody this morning. We'll give it a shot. Yeah, I can see it. Wow! It worked! I'm happy. I guess that completes our test. Wow. I'm totally happy.